After all of that talk about strategy and execution, you're probably wondering now, what does all of this have to do with clouds? What I'm going to do is paint for you the landscape under the cloud first. Let's take a look at the state of the internet today and how it relates to our business. In 2001, there were 360 million internet users. By 2015, there will be 3 billion. The number of internet-connected devices will actually be almost 5 times as many. At this time, there's the equivalent of 250 billion DVDs being carried over the internet in a year. There are also 255 million websites that are already online, selling every possible concoction or service that you can think of. 107 trillion emails were sent in 2010, out of which about 95 trillion were junk. Can you imagine that? If Facebook were a country, it would be the third largest country in the world, after India and China. The growth of the internet is almost organic. Network coverage increases as population grows, network costs drop, and the demographics present a viable business opportunity for internet access providers. With devices that provide such access becoming more available and affordable, and as such they're not just more common but more frequently used as well as services become cheaper. We're also seeing a convergence occur at multiple levels. Everything from entertainment, gaming, and social networking to personal fitness, corporate productivity, and financial transactions are all coming together at the device, service provider, and consumer level. Apple sells computers, phones, applications, content, and cloud real estate, and so does Google. How many of you have a Gmail account? How many of you have used some of the other services like Google Sites? In June 2011, Google launched its wallet payment system in partnership with Mastercard PayPass. Right off the bat, over 300 locations in the world support payment at the cash register using your phone. Google calls it the next big shift. First cash, then plastic, and now your phone. In the US, services like Square that let anyone accept credit card payments for anything without a merchant account are giving a new spin to money lending and microfinancing for startups by university grads. Possibly the first steps that may revolutionize everything we know about stock markets and business financing. The other major disruptive force is the increasing confluence between the Internet of Things, wireless, and data available online towards cloud-based intelligence and augmented reality. What this means is the ability for us to take a snapshot of anything and immediately get all available data on it, including any ongoing deals, potential issues, and so on and so forth. The Nintendo 3DS, for example, has brought augmented reality to our kids already. As early as 2008, Best Buy started using augmented reality in its marketing collateral. In 2010, Walt Disney launched an AR campaign for the movie Prince of Persia. Velocity again at play. And guess what this is? It's a plant that tweets. It tweets when it needs water or needs to be fertilized. A whole new meaning to interacting with nature. So with all of this going on, how important is location to your business? Would you choose this spot or this one? Well, the correct answer, of course, is that it depends. Most of us would choose the busy street. And one of the reasons why the cloud becomes important to us as a business platform is because it's located on this busy street. Positioning ourselves where the action is actually puts us in a better position to get a slice. Now, there are many businesses where moving to the cloud makes absolute sense, and there are going to be others that require very unique arrangements. More on that soon, but let's start with an explanation of what the cloud is. So what then is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the provision of virtual hardware, networking, and application software services over the internet. There are different types of cloud service providers. Some who use a collection of physical hardware and software to provide cloud services to individual or business cloud users, and there are others who aggregate and combine solutions from other cloud providers to create new cloud services. Users and other applications that access the cloud don't have to deal with the underlying details. They interact with the cloud through a very simple graphical interface, or in the case of an application, an API, or an application programming interface. In contrast to the IT rescue attempts I talked about earlier, what's important to understand, though, is that the cloud is not just a new way of doing things. Instead, it's a natural evolution of IT as we know it. The commoditization of IT itself has followed a natural product-to-service evolution pattern over the years. And as a result, we've now reached a stage where computing applications have become utility services. What then are the benefits of using the cloud? I personally like to use an analogy with normal computers when I explain cloud service models. With normal computers, we have the hardware, we have the operating system, and all of the tools that programmers and power users use. And then we have the actual applications and software that the end users use. Cloud computing is the same. If you look at infrastructure as a service, commonly referred to as IaaS, it's all about the hardware, network accessories, and the operating system. The platform as a service layer is essentially all of the tools and resources required to develop and support software. And software as a service, or SaaS services, are the actual online applications themselves. The big difference, though, is that cloud services are available on demand and are always on, accessible anywhere, anytime, and from any place. You pay for what you use and as needed only. They're elastic in the sense that they can scale up and down whenever you need them to. As cloud users, we leave maintenance, operations, and expansion, among other things, to the service providers to worry about and don't have to take care of these things ourselves. Clouds may be deployed using a variety or even a combination of deployment models. At the most basic and at most optimal level are the public or shared clouds. Most services from Google and other SaaS and PaaS providers are delivered this way. After all, businesses actually use a virtual instance or an account that provide access to specific services. These services are hosted on a shared public infrastructure, sometimes also known as a multi-tenant infrastructure. In some cases, either for regulatory or other internal corporate reasons, we choose to deploy private clouds. In such deployments, we can still realize some benefits from the consolidation, virtualization, and managed services that the cloud has to offer without placing our business resources on the public internet. Most companies today, though, have some form of hybrid cloud approach rather than just a single way of embracing the cloud. And that's okay, as long as they can interact together and are implemented and governed in the right manner.